After the fit out was all said and done, we shot up the road to Ironman headquarters to talk to their suspension specialists about what goes into the excellent suspension and heavy duty bar work for the 70 series Landcruiser. If you missed our run through on the fit out of the 76, you'll find more videos in our playlists. So let's go meet Sean and get into it. So that's your bar work.
It is indeed. So 60.3mm tubing on this one to accommodate the side steps. Obviously a car this high, you're probably not going to come into too much contact with that sort of terrain, but it's nice to have that safeguard against your sills because you don't want damage. So the side steps all chassis mounted as well for that extra strength and integrated into our side rails as well.
And a decent size, so easy to get in and out of if you're not a huge unit like us. All right, and the front end.
Yep, so this is our premium bar on the front of this thing. Again, with the 60.3mm tube, triple hoop bar, one of the strongest we have in the market for this vehicle. Very, very popular with you know, the tourers and the country folk, if you will. Mainly presenting against the animal strikes, which obviously will ruin your day if you hit a big one. In addition to that, we've got the housing of the winch, the lights, the triple antennas in this case. So yeah, quite a good package.
And that's GXL silver as well, so that's painted from factory.
Is too.
Nice. Let's have a look underneath, eh?
Let's go.
So Sean, bright green springs, obviously Ironman, but I'm seeing we've got a good steering damper from you guys as well. Now Juzzy tells me that he's got a GVM upgrade in this car. Can you tell me a bit about what goes into the engineering and a kit to suit, you know, an off-road behemoth like this?
Sure can. So before we get anywhere near sort of looking at GVM upgrades and what we can actually push a vehicle to, we really have to start from the start, which is the actual suspension development. So for us, and this has been quite brief, but it's quite an extensive process, we would get an OEM vehicle and assess its sort of on-road behavior, a lot of objective analysis, so looking at coil rates, damper performance in the OEM, and then we can start to kind of build our kits and build our foundation from there. And that's where we get the obviously bright green coils and our Foam Cell Pro dampers there. I guess like the frequency itself, we try and make sure that we have quite a unique ratio, call it a secret if you will, between the front and the rear springs. So this is so when you hit, for instance, speed bumps, potholes, something like that, the vehicle will actually settle at the same time as opposed to getting a bit of like a wallowy sort of feel, like a pitch, if you will.
Yep.
So that's sort of a little bit about the springs when it comes to the dampers. So the Foam Cell Pro, perfect for this vehicle. They are just the most robust, rugged damper that we offer in our range. It's twin tube, thick walled steel, foam cell as the name suggests. So that's really, really good for heat dissipation with the oil or covering the entire outside of the body. And I mean, these things, like we are in armoring sort of territory when it comes to the design of these things. They are just one of the strongest things we have. Just because they're strong doesn't mean you're going to be rolling around on bricks either. So that's where a lot of the valving will come into it. So we'll go through quite a variety of different valve changes to ensure that we've got the optimum setup for vehicles. And as you alluded to, this has a GVM upgrade. So we're looking at quite a heavy solution. So in this instance here, would ensure that all the development was done with the correct axle weights and the correct rear weight as well to optimize the damping performance there.
So something that's not green, bright red, recovery points. Now, big upgrade for Juzzy. He only had one, now he's got two. What stands out about these?
So yeah, both recovery points here, as you mentioned, in bright red, both rated to 5 ton with a single pull. We obviously recommend that you use 2 at once if you can get to 2 at once, depending on what sort of situation you're in. But yeah, nice thick steel. You can see it's got 4 chassis mounts there to really, really hang on and not actually deform the product. So using the appropriate shackles, perfect, pull you out any situation.
So Sean, we've got constant rate springs in the front. Now they'll be rated higher for the GVM upgrade to account for the extra weight of the bar and the winch and all the bits and pieces. I love the foam cells. Those are huge, like big and beefy, but what have we got down the back? Let's have a look there, eh?
Let's go.
So Sean, straight away I can see more Foam Pro or Foam Cell Pro shocks in there, big beefy boys.
That's it.
And those leaf packs, they are pretty comprehensive. Tell us a bit about those.
Yeah, for sure. So these leaf springs are designed to have a dual rate, if you will. So when the vehicle's at its designated load, so these springs are actually a constant load spring. And when that load is over the top of them, they'll be sitting in what we like to call the primary stage, which is a nice sort of ride rate, if you will, and it's perfect to match the frequency with the front. As it starts to load up, and it will come down, it'll actually engage the second stage or helper stage, if you will, and then we call it a combined rate. But that combined rate, though, will be higher because it has an additional load on the top of it. The frequency stays relatively the same. So that's obviously quite optimal for the customer that's going to do the towing, the laden, unladen, sort of, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and then on the weekend they'll load up and
chuck
head
a
out
van.
to the tracks.
Yeah, chuck a big van on the back.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, along with the springs and the dampers, we obviously have to take into account how we mount them to the vehicle. So we've got the greasable shackles up here with our polyurethane bushes, like high durability bushes, just to give you lots of Ks without having to worry too much about the servicing, obviously keeping them greased. And this obviously all comes part of the GBM upgrade in this kit. So on the rear of the vehicles, where we usually pay much more attention to ensuring that it's safe for our end customers. So this is where we'll go to FEA, so effectively finite element analysis, and we understand where the chassis mounting points are, the thickness of the chassis in the vehicle, and we can run what they call an MBD, which is effectively the full vehicle undergoing a full analysis to, we call it VSB 14, which is a standard vehicle standards bulletin. And we subject it to external loads of up to 4G in vertical to ensure that nothing is going to fatigue or crack over the longevity or the lifespan of the vehicle, if you will. So it's pretty elaborate stuff to make sure that what we actually produce is going to be reliable and durable.
So Sean, what you're basically saying is every spring pack isn't just picked up off the floor to see if it fits. You guys are actually calculating how the springs react with the chassis. So when the chassis is taking the load, how the two of them work in combination. This isn't just the spring fits and send it. There is a lot of design consideration in this. So just back on towing, you mentioned before, you can get spring packs to suit somebody who wants a constant load. But if you've got a variable load, which we do because we do a bit of towing, we've put airbags in this. Now, they're not your airbags, but they're there just to supplement a little bit of that spring and just level the ride height really. Yeah, no, it's a good bit of kit, mate. We'll hear from Juzzy a little later on how it drives. He's done 20,000 Ks already, so he should have a fair idea.
Nice.
All right, thanks, Sean.
No problem.
Next episode, we'll sit down with Justin and talk about the project, what went well, what didn't, and how it all performed. Justin has already done over 20,000 kilometers, and he spent weeks on the road living in the LU Cab rooftop tent. So we'll get an idea of how comfortable and easy it is to use too. Now, episode 5 will be out in about 2 weeks, so hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to make sure you're the first to see it.